Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to go over a video talking about my running story, my career as a runner, and from the very beginning, and how that developed, and how it led to a really bad accident, and then led to me finding my love for running again, or actually finding the reason I love running. So, to begin with, when I was very young, um, I guess in second, third grade, in PE physical education class, they would make us do a test to run the mile run, and I would always win that race. And so, without training, of course, because I was a kid. And so, from that point, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm actually kind of good at this. And then, so in middle school, I tried out for the track team. Wasn't very good. Actually, was really bad. Um, did track as my sport and cross country. Cross country as well. Both of them from the get go. And from there, I decided to get a little bit more serious once I got into high school and started doing. After my freshman year of high school, I wasn't that serious. And then leading into my sophomore year of high school, I began to get pretty serious about it. And in fact, that was when I got pretty good. So I always did running at this point for sport. I did it because I liked to be competitive. I was a guy that liked to, compete. And I wasn't the best at baseball or soccer, or I was kind of small and skinny, so I wasn't that good at football. So naturally, I went to running. And so as a sophomore, I began to get pretty good at it. I got really into it. I got really competitive in it. This one girl on my team named Dina, she was 2 years older than me, but she really inspired me to do a lot better, I would say. As well as other guys on the team that I wanted to just beat. And so, when I was a sophomore in high school, I broke 5 minutes in the mile, and from that point, I was pretty much hooked. I loved track at that point. I think I ran a 4:55 for my first sub-5 mile when I was 15. And then, and I would like to give credit to my coach as well at that time, who was a big influence on my life. I really look up to that guy, Coach Dwayne Miner. He was an Arkansas runner, a D1 runner, and he really inspired me, and he helped me have belief in myself in terms of my abilities. I remember he told me right before that, he's like, you're gonna break 5 in the mile. Like, I know you can do it, you just have to let yourself do it. And so I did. And then from that point on, I was hooked. Eventually got a little bit better in high school, switched coaches a lot of things with that, but then I got a scholarship to go to a D2 school called University of Montevallo, and I went and I did college cross country and track for 2 years. So my sophomore year of college, I started getting really invested in it. I started logging 90-mile weeks. I was just all I thought about was running. It was just, my entire life was built around running. And I got pretty good at it. And I was one of the top guys on our team. But I never performed that well in races, I would say, compared to my actual workouts and ability. So this pretty much led to me being burnt out. When you start seeing a decrease in performance like that, it has usually something to do with a mental thing. And so I decided that I was done running. I sort of was done before I was done. But eventually, it led to me quitting the team, and then I kind of gave up running. Although I still ran for a while, I would do maybe 5 miles here and there, 3 miles here and there, just because I liked the way it made me feel, but I didn't really understand that fully. And then eventually, I just stopped running altogether. I kind of got into drug use, and just stopped exercising in every aspect of everything. I didn't do any form of exercise really. I just kind of stopped eating as much. Just kind of got out of shape and just got into the wrong sort of endeavors. But eventually, eventually, going into the wrong path a little bit, I got into drug problems, and then this led to a sort of episode, and this is on the span of about 6-7 years of just not running, not really exercising. Occasionally, I started doing it more in grad school. I would run a little bit more, but then I had a really bad car accident in grad school, and I broke my femur, my hip, my wrist, and my foot. I had to have my femur was literally projecting from my leg, the bone. I was fully resuscitated on the side of the road. Woke up in a hospital. They did an emergency surgery on my femur, my hip, repairing it. And the first question I asked, I remember, was, "When am I going to be able to run again?" And they said it'll be at least a year before you can, and it might always be painful. And I remember thinking, "Wow, this is terrible." So what I did was I focused on recovering, but it's very difficult. These kind of injuries, they really just mess with your mind a little bit, and so I had a hard time with that. And then during COVID, so I got isolated and then got more into drugs, and then this led to a sort of like mental break. I just sort of just lost touch with myself completely, got really spun out. And then after I finally got past all of that and had to quit doing drugs and got past to this sort of breaking point in my life of, this is the very bottom of the bottom I will ever probably get in my life. What am I going to do to get myself out of it? And what I started doing was I started running every day. I started first running 2 miles every other day. And I noticed the change in my psyche immediately. Once I would finish, I would just be able to focus and do what I needed to do on day-to-day activities. And then slowly from there, this is from the age of 27 to the age of 29, like I am now, I've been running pretty much every day consistently for 2.5 years now. And I've just gotten more and more into it, and it's just it's not something that I dread anymore. Like when I quit running in college, it became something I dreaded. I hated the competition. I started hating like waking up and having to do it every day, and a sort of gruesome competitive, I didn't understand why I was doing it manner. But now it's more like I choose to do it because I want to, because it's helping my life in many aspects. It's helping me remain calm during the day. It's helping me have more energy during the day. It gives me mental clarity. It gives me an overall sense of well-being. So I pretty much learned why I even like running to begin with from this accident. And I never knew that before when I was young. I always did it. I liked to compete. But I don't think I ever really loved running. Or maybe I did, I just didn't understand why. But now I fully understand why I love it, and I want to do everything I can to maintain my ability to do it. And I'm grateful for every step that I can take in that direction for every run. So what I wanted to say at the end of this was, if anyone is feeling like you're at the rock bottom of your life, you're at a very low point, I suggest going out for a run. As daunting as it may sound, I will say quite literally that running dug me out of the deepest pit of despair in my entire life. Running as a singular act dug me out of this pit. So I think that you could use this to help you get through these sort of things as well. I suggest giving it a try, and I also think that I also wanted to say that, sometimes we don't really fully understand the meaning behind something, but it takes some sort of catastrophic event to sort of show you how significant something is to you. And so I would just like to try to inject some consciousness into something like this that might be in your life, that you might not fully understand or take for granted. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share my story with running, how I pretty much went from a competitive runner to a person at the rock bottom of their life, lost my ability to even walk or stand, broke my femur, and had it repaired. Now there's metal in my leg. Um, and here I am now with a refound love for running, and I do it every day almost.